Hey guys, welcome to another video. Blessings here today. Here are the commonly asked teacher ranking interview questions with answers of all times, part 2. Without further ado, let's start the teacher ranking interview.
Question number 11. How can you handle misbehaving students?
Yes, handling students can be crucial because not all students in a class may be well-mannered or respectful. There can be some cases of serious disrespect towards teachers. There are also reluctant student who is not motivated and can also be passive or aggressive, creating more problems for classmates through non-cooperation. The rules safeguarding students can be a headache because there's a limitations on how can we teacher discipline the student. That is why I always have to look into the laws and double check it first before I respond, as things can turn against me in unexpected ways. But the key to handle this students is to motivate them, to show them how education in general, and a specific lesson in particular, is related in their lives.
Question number 12. How do you differentiate fast learner to slow learner?
In the context of classrooms, it is very important to identify fast learners from slow learners. During my teaching experience, having an assessment helps me easily differentiate fast learners to slow learners. I dealt them differently, as each individual is different than the other, but not in a point to discriminate children in any scale. Fast learners excel in everything, while slow learners initially wants to learn, but has a problem with the process. I build up confidence among these learners, and make them believe that they are no less than others. Encouraging words and phrases bring about a positive impact on the slow learners, and boost them to perform better. Handling these two groups is very crucial, but I always make the pace of the lesson to be moderately, and making the lesson more interesting.
Question number 13. How do you ensure that your classroom environment is conducive to learning?
To create a classroom environment conducive to learning, I must first focus on the physical space. I will use every possible area of the room to create an atmosphere that encourages participation and learning. Then at the beginning of the class, I will establish rules and routines to instill a sense of community among my students. As a teacher, I need to lead my students by example. Displaying a caring attitude and open relationship toward each student will encourage them to treat each other with the same attitude. This promotes a positive learning environment and can improve collaboration among my students and can greatly contribute to an atmosphere conducive to learning.
Question number 14. How do you ensure a wider participation of learners in the class activity?
I will assess first my students' prior knowledge and tailor my lessons to build on what they already know. With this, my students will feel successful and be more engaged when new content is linked to what they already know. And also, I will give my students a choice in how they learn. Students tune out when they feel like their ideas do not matter. Allowing my students to make choices about how they learn and the type of work they do will make them feel invested in my lesson activity.
Question number 15. What are the attributes of being a good teacher?
As we know, teaching is such an important and noble profession. However, there are some fairly consistent qualities among great teachers, like being adaptable, strong communicator, shows empathy, patience, value real-world learning, and a lifelong learner. But, I do believe, being a good teacher is someone that is good in teaching, rather than instructing. A good teacher should be focused on making sure their students truly understand and appreciate the lesson, rather than just lecturing and hoping it will compute. The teachers that are concerned with the retention of their students, making sure they really know and can do the work, not just checking off the boxes for the lesson plan. Because, I believe, great learning comes from teachers who are focused on the learning outcomes of the students.
Question number 16. What is the role of the teachers in this time of pandemic?
Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the online teaching system emerged as the most important substitute. I believe teachers had gone through a lot of process of transformation of their teaching styles through adopting the online mode of teaching, with putting extra efforts and hard work. I think teachers play an important role in boosting learners' engagement in education, especially those affected by the COVID-19. I believe the teacher's main role amidst pandemic remains as a facilitator. Because, I believe, students need to be supported and guided in order to learn the necessary skills to achieve the desired outcomes. With this, support and direction is very essential to succeed the associated learning.
Question number 17. What are the challenges facing by our teachers today?
I think the biggest challenges that our teachers experiencing today are the changing of educational trend, who had to adapt to the new method of teaching and learning in the conditions imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Because, I believe, this is one of the worst classroom challenges faced by our teachers, as they never experienced it before. Today, teachers will be eager to adopt new technologies and tools to update new trends. However, I think most teachers don't have a proper training on how to use these new tools, so the teachers will have to figure out how effectively they can utilize the new tools. I believe this can result in inconsistency in their teaching styles, and more often leading to frustration and low job satisfaction.
Question number 18. What are the challenges facing by the students during distance learning?
I believe every student will have different challenges based on their own living and home situations and environments. But I think the most main impact is in the social emotional, because the students will have been directly and abruptly impacted by the changes that they experienced during this time, which led them to involuntarily practice and experiment with skills by themselves. And also, the inequity in access to technology are going to be hit hardest by distance learning, because distance learning relies not only upon the possession of a modules in the first place, but also the advanced use of technology.
Question number 19. How will you handle the students regarding modular setup?
With this modular distance learning, I will make sure that my students will understand the lesson by giving them readable materials and other educational media references that they can visit or rely on for a wider explanation. And I will also help my students to develop new routines and strategies to help them focus in learning, like making schedule on answering times and break times, setting a realistic goals, and creating checklist. Also, I will always maintain a positive relationships with my students and to their parents to better understand my students' social emotional well-being.
Question number 20. As a teacher, what is your biggest lesson in this pandemic?
This time of pandemic has taught me that health and wellness is very substantial in our life. Because of the extraordinary change happened in our life, I have learned to move forward and be more adaptable to the new changes, making me more creative and flexible in the face of new situations. As the new normal in teaching take place, I learned that the teaching should be more flexible and adaptable to what my student needs. Students are physically and emotionally affected by the pandemic, giving them a sense of caring, support, and setting flexible teaching schedules are the most practical approach. Another lesson that quarantine has taught me is the importance of focusing on mental health. Because the world is going through a turbulent and traumatic time collectively, how each student copes with the situation is differently. As a teacher, I should incorporate the mental health and develop strategies that will benefit their psychological well-being. This pandemic also demonstrates that we are all connected and that collective actions are vital and have a significant influence on the health and well-being of the entire community. The education of the future must take from this and focus on fostering responsibility in each students so that they will become members committed to their community who know how to work collectively.
Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did, please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks as always for watching our video. There will always be next lessons to come in the next one. God bless you.